Hey everyone, Julian here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to give your beats a little bit more flavor and just sort of spice them up a little bit so you can keep your sounds interesting and fresh and unique sounding. So to start off with, I have this beat that I was working on here. I'm going to play it for you real quick. And so this beat has a lot of stuff going on as far as processing goes. It's a pretty simple beat, but I have processed these drums pretty heavily. And this is what I want to talk about here because I feel like the processing that I did on these drums really makes them sound a lot better and more powerful. And again, just gives them like an interesting flavor so it isn't just like the same few, basic drum sounds that everybody's using. So for the kick, I'll show you, for example, here it is with the processing, and then without. So you can hear, once I put this processing on it, it really sounds a lot bigger. I think it sounds a lot more powerful. It doesn't have that, it still has that powerful kick sound, the clickiness, but it adds a lot of beef in the low end. And so I use this RC20 plugin, and I actually just use this distortion in here. This isn't an ad for XLN Audio or the RC20. I just use this a lot. But I just use this distortion here, and I have it turned up pretty high. And so this is something that I want to talk about also is I think people are afraid a lot of putting processing on their drums because you've heard a million times, I say this as well a lot, don't overcompress your drums, don't use too much compression, don't distort your drums, all of this. But you can actually use a lot of stuff without getting over-compressed, oversaturated drums. For example, here, I use this distortion, and it's not it's really just beefing it up. It's not adding any kind of extreme higher harmonic stuff or anything like that. It's just beefing it up, and in low amounts, anything like this can really help. So, that's just one example. Another example I want to talk about here are these hi-hats. Because I don't think people process their hi-hats enough, and I think there are some cool things that you can do. So for example, with these, as you can see, what I did was I added a little bit of attack on the envelope, or on the amplitude envelope actually, and as you can hear, when I solo it, you can really hear it. In the beat, it's kind of just more in the background. But as you can hear, what this does is it makes the hi-hat sound a lot softer. Instead of being like this sharp, hard-hitting hi-hat, it just kind of sits over top of everything nicely and smoothly. I'll show you if I turn the attack down. It's not overbearing by any means, but again, this just kind of sounds like a plain hi-hat. But when I add this attack, it kind of gives it a unique vibe and makes it sound like its own sort of thing. The other thing here is I also use the RC20. I actually just use the wobble a little bit, which is doing very little, but here and there it's kind of just playing with the sound and giving it a little bit of an analog feel. And yeah, so that's an example of a case where I would say I really processed this hi-hat between that attack and then the little bit of wobble on there from the RC20. I think I really gave this, again, just a more interesting kind of sound that has a little bit more flavor. So the last thing I want to talk about here are 808s, and 808s definitely can benefit from doing this kind of processing where you're just sort of trying to add a little bit of flavor to it. This is what the 808 sounds like here with my processing. And here it is without. So as you can hear, in this case, is definitely a lot better. This is just adding a lot of power and grit, and really making this 808 sound unique. And this auto pan over here isn't doing anything during this part. It's just for this one little transition part here. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, so this 808 on its own sounds like this, which is a pretty nice 808. But again, the stuff that's going on with this RC20 here It's just really making it a lot more powerful. And I use this preset, this Bass Wonder preset, and it's adding, I think it's mostly, the distortion, and then this digital thing over here is like a bit of a bit crusher, as well as this EQ down here. I think those are the three main things causing this to sound the way it does. So as you can hear, with kicks and 808s, distortion is like a very important thing. I would definitely recommend playing around with distortion in very light amounts. But there's also, some other stuff here. I have this VHS noise that's in there subtly, and this wobble here, you can definitely hear on those long held out notes. It's giving it like a kind of chorusy vibe that I think is really nice sounding. But yeah, again, like this 808 totally could have worked on its own. But I think that adding this distortion on top of it really helps to bring it to life. And I mean, I did stuff on like the snares. I did a little bit of distortion there and stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video because I think that, again, a lot of times people talk about like keep your drums clean, just don't mess with them too much, all that kind of stuff. But a little bit of processing can go a long way. And I think as long as you're not overdoing it and not going too hard with like compression or weird stereo effects or, reverbs or delays that could be taking up other parts of the mix, you're really fine. I mean, yeah, it's just about going in there and doing subtle things and not going too hard with it. So that's going to be it for today, guys. Make sure to let me know what you think of this video in the comments. And make sure to like this video and subscribe. Maybe even share the video if it helped you out. Check out my new track, The Ones. It's at the top of the description. Really appreciate it if you will listen to it. And yeah, I will see you guys again tomorrow with another tutorial.